Welcome to Samaritan's Purse Disaster Relief Extranet Training. In this video tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to scan QR codes that are brought by volunteers to the sites. This is going to expedite the check-in process. We can get volunteers who have iPhones to download the app, log in, and we'll give them a temporary password to have access to check-in volunteers, which then afterwards we will change that password for security reasons. But let's begin by going to the App Store, and I'll show you which app needs to be downloaded. Now there are multiple ways to check in volunteers. This is good if we have 300 plus going out the door waiting to be checked in on a busy Saturday. So it's QR Reader for iPhone. That's what you want to search for. This is the way you can tell. It's from Tap Media Limited, and this is the logo. I've downloaded it once before, so I'm just going to click that. And as that downloads, I want to show you what a QR code looks like. This is a QR code. It looks much like a barcode. It can be scanned with a smartphone camera, and think of it as a link. It's almost as if when you scan it with your phone, you're clicking on a link on your computer, and that's going to take you to the check-in page for the volunteer that you are that you're willing to check in. So my app is on the verge of completion, and when that comes up, I can click open. And when I open, you're going to see these four corners, and you want to line that QR code up right in the center, and you can see it immediately picked it up. And on first scan, you're going to be prompted to log in. The username is going to be the disaster response unit's email address that is serving at that site, and a password will be given, and as I said, it will be changed. Ignore these advertisements. You may get some advertisements with this app, but don't let them be a distraction. For the username, I want to put in disaster response 1 at samaritan.org, and it always has to end with at samaritan.org. This password, and I'll click log on. And I'm taken to the home page. Notice for the first scan I was not taken to the check-in page. So let's fix that. You're going to see this arrow at the top left-hand corner. When we click it, we're going to be taken back to our scanning screen. I'm going to click these three lines, and you see a menu come up. You have the QR Reader, which is what we're going to primarily be using, which is this. But down here we have History. I want you to click on History. It has a little clock emblem next to it. And you will see the very first item that I've scanned. If I click on that, it's going to take me to this page. You'll notice the button here has check-in. I can click on check-in, and you're going to see two categories depending on if they have served or if they have signed up as an overnight volunteer. You're going to see upcoming events. If they have not signed up for an overnight trip, you're only going to see available day volunteer opportunities. And you can tell right now these are all rebuild projects. But chances are, if you get somebody coming through, you want to take a look. You have next to the A, which stands for arrival. It's 2/4/2014, which is the date this is being filmed. The departure date, 2/12/2014. I'm going to Marshall, Alaska. I wish. That sounds like a great trip. But I'm going to go ahead and click right there. And I'll scroll to the very bottom of the next screen. it will say complete check-in for the team at this location. So you can see some of the details on this screen, and if you wish to see more details about the volunteer, you're welcome to do that. Keep in mind that anyone that has a QR code and has brought that in, they have been approved by staff of some sort, whether it be in the office or if it's on a rebuild location, they have been approved by the staff serving at that rebuild site. If any notes are necessary, you're welcome to enter notes. Notes are not serious matters, or not as serious as say an alert, alerting us that a volunteer may not respect authority or anything like that. This would be more like this volunteer needs a CPAP machine, or this volunteer is going to be staying off-site. Notes are not as serious, but they are what they are. They are notes. So I'm going to click complete check-in. And if there are ever any changes, you can always modify the event. If there's a different number of team members that show up to a site than what we're scheduled for, you can always modify event. Now on the iPhone, you don't want to click continue checking in volunteers. It's going to take you to the extranet. You're going to want to click this back button and go back to your QR scanner. You won't necessarily need to click this green button. So let's scroll down. Let me show you what it looks like to modify an event. And it's going to look very similar to the excuse me, the reschedule trip for a team page on the computer. If a volunteer coordinator were to reschedule a team, then you can always edit these dates, and you see a calendar come up. So if I say, well, they're going to be coming in a day later, or maybe they will be leaving a day earlier, or you can change the time, leaving at 12:30, not 12, leaving on the 10th. I mean, you can change any details, and sometimes people come with more people than they intended. Well, to keep the calendars up to date, you're welcome to edit the numbers as necessary, and then click schedule. And you will see that there is adequate availability for this trip and for the numbers. And scroll down and click confirm and click schedule once more. At this point, you want to send a communication, send an email, and this way it will be in our records. And this email is already pre-populated with all the necessary information, but we'll know that there has been a change. We'll send that message. Even if they're already on site, that's okay. We'll go ahead and send the message. Now let's go back. Let's say we want to scan more volunteers, and this is our history. Let's go back to the reader, and I'm going to scan another QR code. Notice this time there are no upcoming events. I haven't been, well, this is Marshall, but I actually there shouldn't be any upcoming events because I just checked in. But let's say this was somebody who did not sign up for an overnight trip. All that you would see are day volunteer locations. So if I wanted to check into Norman, Oklahoma, just click on the link, and then you would click complete check-in. If there's ever an error, it's a good thing because we have, it says duplicate check-in. So I'm already checked in for one event. I can't be checked in for another. This is a good safeguard that's been put into place to make sure that the same person is not being checked in more than once. So I can go back. It'll take me back to my scanner, but let's go to our history. And I can just slide to the left. I can look at the information about this, when it was scanned. I can also rename it. I can edit it. See, website is the name for it, but I can put JF for my initials. I can slide this one. I can put the date, or how about we put day volunteer, or just put day vol just to save some time. And so I can edit this as necessary. I can also move this into a folder, and it says there are no folders, so I can hit the plus button, enter a folder name, enter today's date, so keep track of all of these items, and I have just moved that item in. I can also click edit, select that, move to a folder or move to a new folder, and I'll call this folder Day Vols. And there it is. So I can go in there and, well, and if you did what I just did and moved it to the wrong folder, that's okay. Now Day Vols is empty. See, simple as that, corrected. The day volunteer is in there. JF is into 4/2014. Very, very easy. I can also select both of these and click delete. But before I do, let's look at one more thing that we can do just individually. You can actually delete straight from the QR code. And I actually want to encourage you, instead of moving everything into folders, you can actually just start at the bottom, click the delete button. I like to work from the bottom going up. The newest scans are going to appear at the top. So you're going to want to scroll to the bottom, because you won't have time if there are 300 people out the door to scan and check in, scan and check in, scan and check in. You're going to scan, 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 and then once everyone's out the door, check in as many people as you can, or as quickly as you can. You're going to check everybody in. But go ahead and take care of that immediately, the scanning portion, and then as soon as they're gone, check them in immediately. Complete the check-ins. So I recommend starting at the bottom, working your way up the top. So we'll just demonstrate this here. And after each check-in, just delete that one. You don't even need to save these. There's no need to save them, because once they're checked in, they are in our system. We're good to go. But this is a great system. It's wonderful getting volunteers, especially in large numbers, out the door quickly. If you don't have an iPhone, that's okay. There are plenty of people serving on site that have iPhones. In fact, we're looking at getting some hardware for our disaster relief units so that this type of technology will be accessible for our volunteers. But I appreciate you listening to this tutorial and watching. If you have any questions, you can email disasterrelief@samaritan.org. Thank you very much.